All right, we should be good to go. So I think 20, 25 minutes, and then we'll kind of just do one-on-ones again. To catch back up after spring break, see where you're at with the goals we had kind of set individually, and just discuss plans for wrapping up your project 1 and moving on to your project 1.2, or for some of you, your project 2, depending on how you are, your project process is kind of unfolding. So with that, one other thing I kind of want to mention, if you haven't yet, please jump into the Google Drive that we had talked about on the, I think it was the 8th already, in our visualization project folder. So instead of making you guys continually update Miro every single week, I think that was useful for the first few weeks while we were all on the same page. But since we are all on our own projects, like journeys now, I guess you could say, let's keep updating, or at least for your final project submission on project 1, create a folder in here with your name. So I think most of you did. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are a few of you that haven't, so let's create that. Angel, I think you were gone, so no stress about that. I might not have told you, so that's my fault. So as you're wrapping up project 1, let's just fill out some of those files. And this will be on the recorded video, but what that looks like is you can just copy and paste mine. But within yours, you'll have a folder for final deliverables, process work if you're taking any screenshots or copies of 3D models, Photoshop files, whatever you want to include in there. It's fine. We just need to document it for the school purposes, and old proposals. But you can kind of structure it out how you'd like, what works for you. But that'll be kind of our home point touch base from here on out. And that's how I will start to give you your progress grade and then eventually your final grade. So that's that. I'm actually going to open a...
we have to upload the photos that we've already uploaded to Miro.
So, no, you don't have to if you don't want to. If you happen to have those saved, that would be good for your process work folder. But since we already have the Miro board, I can also go and save those down. So that's not a huge deal. This. Okay. This is the file I'm going to use as an example. I know some of you are actually going to start getting into Blender a bit more, so if you have questions, let me know. I know some of you also had emailed me over spring break. I believe I got back to all of you, but if you do ever want to meet outside of class, don't feel bad. Let me know, and I'm gonna make it work. So that's always an option. Just remember that. So the main goal of this next 20 minutes is just to again look over how you can build multiple materials into single objects. So I was doing this for work, and it became a kind of easy avenue to discuss this idea with you. Because we utilize TwinMotion and Lumion a lot in our workflows, I just want to talk about how to optimize that. I know we kind of went over this the first week of class, but I didn't really go in depth or in enough detail. So right now what I have here, if I hide this plane, is a single piece of road. And it's a single object. So if I move it up, GZ, I move it X, it all moves together. But if I go into edit mode, I can select this piece, I can select this piece, this piece, this piece. So they're like grouped together. In Rhino, I believe you can do groups, and in SketchUp, I believe there are like nested groups and subgroups, so you would kind of assemble them in the same way. But then you see there are multiple materials added to each one of these. So if I select these two yellow lines, and I go to my materials tab here, and in Rhino it would just be the materials tab in Rhino. You can add multiple materials or material slots as they're called directly into the base object. So if I select this, I have these three materials. If I wanted to add in another piece, so say I wanted one lane to read a different material than the other, I could come in here, I could modify this base, add in an edge loop in Blender right down the sort of middle, and I can then separate those out. So if I select linked, deselect that, if I just select half the road, then I could say create new material with the plus icon, new material, and I could just call this whatever I wanted to, road surface 2. It's created here in this list to the right hand side of the screen. I come down here, make it just a different color, like pink, and I hit assign. And now I've assigned that built into the same single object, multiple materials. So if I could live link this to Lumion or TwinMotion, I could export as FBX, OBJ, DAE, Collada, and import those in, that into there, and we'll do that in a second. Another useful thing about certain modeling packages is you can use built-in modifier stacks or built-in tools and subsets of tools. So here I've just given this object, or grouped multiple objects together, a modifier right here, and it arrays it. So if I bring this up, I can give myself a much longer road. So that can be useful for context and whatnot. So I'll just select this for now, file, and export. And I'm going to export it as an FBX, like we've done in the past. I'm just going to put it in my root folder and just leave all of the defaults for now. Exports. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to open up Lumion just so we understand how these materials work and the advantages of doing a multi-piece model like this and separating materials out. So for now, I'm just going to go create new. Going to make a paved paradise on the beach environment. So open that up. And I've got all these pre-existing layers. I could just turn them all off, build on the ocean. It's just an existing model in Lumion. I'm going to just go ahead and create a new layer because layer management is important. So I'm going to call this road, check mark, and then I'm going to go to the place to place an object in Lumion. You'll notice our imported models library comes up here. So old models that I've imported have included cars for work and playgrounds and various other objects. But I want to import that road we were just looking at. So I'm going to go to that, which is right here. So I'm going to copy that, paste it, and it's this right here. I'm going to open it. The defaults are fine for now. And my toilet came in with it. That is a good thing to note. And I totally forgot that was in the the model. Hidden objects, especially in Blender, will export with whatever you're exporting. Because I made it all part of the same FBX, all these objects came in together. The same case is made in point, though, that you still see the separate materials. How Lumion takes in any FBX, regardless of how many objects you have in it, is by the import. So if I imported that, there's only one point at which I can move it, and it's at the object's center because that's where I placed it. That's where it will rotate or pivot around the golden throne. And yeah, materials are applied at the materials panel down here. So I'm going to select that. And then notice, now that you get into a material selection, this is where Lumion recognizes the separate objects and materials that you've applied within the single group or the single object. So I'm going to select Paint 1. And they're all named how I'd named them in Blender already. And this is where you can just start to apply many different materials to a single object, which has many, many very important use cases, especially when it comes to, like work environments. So just make this like a, I'm gonna go indoor plastic and make it like yellow. I think it's yellow, painted on the road. Road surface 1, I'll go outdoor and give it asphalt. So maybe I like that asphalt texture. And I'm going to give this other one a different asphalt texture just for example's sake. Maybe we're doing a road conditions analysis, and for some reason everyone wants to drive up the north side of the street, not the south side, so they really screwed this side of the road up. But I don't like that look, so I'm going to go edit the material, and you know, just like in TwinMotion, you can change a bunch of different materials, give it a lot of relief so you get a lot of pull of that normal map. Get the shadows in there, the bumps showing up. Play with the reflectivity, gloss maybe if you want to enhance that specular, and then displacement will just really push the crack depth. So you don't notice the difference there. Anyway, map scale can become handy as well, of course. If you didn't manage your UVs, you can just go ahead and go in there and do that. Now here's a really other cool example. Within a material, you can give it emission, I believe. So let's see how that works. Yep, so in Lumion it works down here in your materials tab. Whatever material you have selected, come down here. There's a settings button. Say you have modeled yourself a lamp, and there's a bulb that's modeled in it, but you've exported it all as one object. You give the bulb its separate material in Rhino or Blender, and then you can crank up the emission and see how that just goes bright for a second compared to what it was. Now if I save changes to my materials so it's all applied, and I go to weather, change the time of day to night, now you can see the painted lines are glowing now despite it being night. So if I were to apply that to like a bulb on a 3D model of a lamp, you could start getting emissive characteristics during night like that. If you're doing like an interior bedroom scene or exterior lights, you could also apply the same material to a toilet, whatever. But let's see. I'm going to go into photo. See if we can't go find that. And I'm going to store that camera. And then I'm going to get a high-res preview. Let's see. I'm going to go into the effects stacks and go to lighting and add sun so I can control the sun. Make sure that's all the way down. And then turn off the exposure. Hyperlight. We want shadow. And I was hoping I could kind of get a... Well, you can start to see that. Those are glowing a little bit, but I'd have to go back and crank those up. But all that to say, you can control your materials and build it into a single object, and it's really, really useful. Because as some of you have come to find in TwinMotion, Lumion, if you import 5,000 objects at once, it becomes really, really difficult to manage, especially if you want to move all those objects or animate them. So, does anyone have any questions in regards to like Lumions? Lumion, since I have it open, or these materials in general? Yeah. Yep, correct. So I'm just going to go back here and show you how that could work. I'm going to go Alt-H to unhide those. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to select my toilet. I'm just going to like, I'm going to move it up. Select this only and go to File, Export, FBX. I'm going to select this so it overwrites that FBX file, but I'm going to go over here to say Selected Objects Only so the toilet doesn't export with it. And I'm just going to overwrite that file. So when I come back into Lumion and I go to my build and I select this imported object, I should be able to reload it. And sorry, it's been a little bit. Don't I have to reload it from here? Oh, it shows up in like a box over here. Yeah, I remember now. Thank you. Place. Boom. There we go. Yeah, so see, now it's just the road. And so now let's go get the toilet. And actually, why don't we do this? Give the toilet a runway. Really give it some room to take off, huh? RZ 180, we want it to face forward. All passengers, we want them to be safe. And actually, we're going to give this a cube passenger. Scale it down, SZ, GY, duplicate, rotate, and we've got a little dude who's hopefully going to be safe. Okay, so I'm going to just join these. Alright, so we're going to export the toilet. Export as FBX, toilet, selected object, export, file, export, dude, selected objects, go into Lumion and import those quick. Place, import new model, dude, place him down. And when you place a imported model into Lumion, if you want it to be imported right at where it was at, there might be a better way to do this, but I believe if I just zero out the position, which maybe that isn't such a good idea because it puts it way down there. So and then it resets to the origin.
Well, you can like snap them to the same origin.
Yeah, I'm kind of. Is it this?
No, if you hit the arrow that's like pointing out.
Oh, deeper.
Yeah, and then you can one of those says like align origins.
Oh, align positions. Nice. Thank you. Yeah, because if I align it to the imported origin, that was like way below the scene space, which will happen to you sometimes if you use a preset scene. So be cautious of that. Thank you. And then I'm going to import the toilet. And so your question was, can we animate the toilet, right? All right. That is a good question. Not because we want to animate toilets on a runway, but because we might want to animate other things, right? So please don't show up to studio on your final crit day and tell you that Josh told you to do this. That would not be good for me. So let's see. I'm going to apply this, and I'm also going to export this. So file, export, FBX, runway, export. All right. I'm going to place and import runway. Let's see. There we go. I'm just going to place that there. We're not going to worry about updating the materials. Oh, stupid tree. Boom. Okay. Now we're going to go to photo, or probably be better to do video, huh? In a Paradise Sunset. Like, what is it? Butch and Sundance. We should be able to edit this clip. He's going to ride off into the sunset. So we'll move this here, update camera, and I'm just going to move this here, add camera, and I'm going to delete this. So we're going to make the total clip 10 seconds. Let's see how fast that goes. Boom. Alright, we're going to launch this bad boy. Accept that. Now, in the effect stacks, you come down to animation. Here's where your animation tools are in Lumion. So for this, we're going to want to do either an advanced move or a move. Move will be fine for our case. And what that does is it puts it in your effect stack at the top. You click into move, click edit, and select whatever you want to move. You've got a start position in the bottom left here and an end position here. So we're already in the start positions that we want for dude and toilet, so we're going to hit end position here. And end position will automatically keyframe at the end of the video I just created. So if I just take this toilet and I push it all the way off here, and then I similarly take dude and animate him to end with the toilet with an end position as well. Make sure he is you know, kind of in alignment. Boom. Alright, I'm going to hit the check mark, and we're just going to hit play. And there you go. Homeboy's riding off into the sunset. Anyway, it's not perfect, but you can put this to much better use than I just did, so I apologize, but if you can kind of imagine and extrapolate the same concepts to other things, you know. So we outpaced him, but that's okay. He'll catch up. Come on, buddy. There he goes. And of course, comedic humor. It ends before he takes off, but you know, concepts there. So, long answer to a short question. We can indeed animate a toilet or anything else in Lumion, just like TwinMotion. So you need a translator tool in TwinMotion. But any other questions?
When do you like to use Lumion versus TwinMotion?
Oh, this is difficult because at work, my boss is a Lumion lover, a SketchUp lover.
So it just depends on what the boss wants.
He's been very open to letting me use TwinMotion and Unreal Engine, which I've done some really cool stuff in. So he's like, yeah, go for it. There are definitely projects where Lumion's a little bit faster. In my opinion, it takes longer to get a good visual, like a high visual quality. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the person who's using it, right? So I've only known Lumion for a couple months now, whereas like someone who's known it for a couple of years can probably just blow me out of the water. But yeah, Lumion, in my opinion, it's pretty good for really fast things. And TwinMotion for if you want the next level visual quality with path tracing and ray tracing and stuff.
Okay.
So
thank you.
With that, I think I'll close the recording, upload this to YouTube, and hit 100,000 subscribers. So